Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head up towards Uppsala. We're doing another Swedish brewery and this is one that I haven't tried anything from before. So for this one we are going to go to Brasstacks Brewing Company and we're having a taste of their blueberry backbone today. Now this guy's an Imperial Stout at 8% ABV. They've added lactose and blueberries to the brew on this one, as you may guess by the name, but it should be a really interesting one. Rate Beer gave this guy a 94 overall, so it should be quite an interesting beer, and like I always say, it is cool to try breweries from different parts of Sweden that I've not come across before. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy my take on this beer, but as always I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery before we taste the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward a little bit. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my future reviews that hopefully I can do from Brasstacks Brewing. This is the first time I'm trying one of their beers, of course. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and use the search bar to find beer based on country, city, state, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, of course. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review, especially if you're watching in Sweden, because I know there's a lot of Swedish breweries I just haven't come across yet. So anyway, tell you a little bit about Brasstacks Brewing Company then. So Brasstacks Brewing were founded back in 2014 by Erik and Anders Sandqvist along with Erik Eriksson. So they're based on a farm in Storvreta, which is a few kilometres outside of Uppsala. Of course, Uppsala is the home to Sweden's oldest university, but in the beginning they were brewing very small batches of beer, only 350 litres at a time, but they've since upgraded to a system with about 1200 litres capacity per brew, and this means that they can produce around 60,000 litres of beer per year. But all the three of the founders have roots in Söderhamn, which is a little bit further north, I believe a little bit to the north of Gävle, if I'm remembering correctly. So the brewery have quite a strong presence in that region of Sweden, and they've also hosted their own beer festival as well in the town, which they plan to continue. They were saying that they thought they would only get 80 people or so, or they wanted to get 80 people to this festival so that they would break even, and then around 800 people turned up, which was really quite impressive. I guess they were really impressed with that. But these guys seem to be growing in popularity, and like I always say, it is cool to see new craft breweries popping up all the time. So that's all you need to know about the brewery for the moment. Just to list the other beers you can get from these guys, of course, there's this one, the Blueberry Backbone. In their regular range they have the Conductor, which is an IPA, the Galaxy, which is a wheat IPA, and also the Pom Pom, which is a pomegranate blonde beer. And they do have a few other ones that are in the works or have been out on cask already, and I'm sure they will go into bottles at some point in the future. But yeah, that's all you need to know for the moment. If you want to learn more about the brewery, of course, check out the links in the description below. But anyway, let's get on to the actual tasting of this beer then. So like I mentioned to you, this one is an 8% Imperial Stout. It's hopped with Centennial and Chinook and has a malt base of black and chocolate malts with lactose and blueberries added to the brew. There's another quick look at the artwork for you. Really quite nicely presented, this one. I do like the kind of, it's almost like a black metal style of artwork that they've put on this one. I do quite like that. Plain white bottle cap on this one, nicely presented. There you can see on the back, Brasstacks Brewing Company. I don't know why they call themselves Brasstacks Brewing Company rather than Brasstacks Brewery or something like that, maybe just to Americanise it a little bit more. But it says this one is best before December 2018. For an Imperial Stout as well, it is actually on the lower side of things. It's 8%, so it is one of the lower ones you're going to come across. A lot of gas coming out of that there, as you saw. So a nice big smoky opening there, and we'll get it out into the glass. I guess we'll just need to watch with the head on this one. We'll just need to pour it slowly. Sometimes happens with beers. I've not had it happen with an Imperial Stout often enough, but I have found that it can happen when you have beers that have had fruit added to them. Some of the acids and things from the fruit can be a little bit reactive with the beer, but we'll leave it like that just now, just let it calm, and then we'll put the rest in. So as you can see, and as you would expect from an Imperial Stout, this guy's poured a really dark ebony rosewood colour. I think that's fair to say. If I hold it up to the light, it does have a little bit of a ruby edge to it, but it's mainly a really dark kind of chestnut edge that this beer has. But yeah, definitely a dark ebony rosewood colour, this one. There's a solid, yeah, about 3 fingers of a head there, and that's, what, about 2/3 of the beer that I've poured in here actually. But yeah, big head on this one, as you would expect. Some big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass and quite a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of that head there. But it looks exactly as you'd expect, and I do like the colour of the head on that one. It's sort of a kind of almost hot chocolate, kind of cocoa colour on the top there. A really nice dark kind of brown tan thing. So yeah, let's have a closer look at the aroma then and see how we get on. When you're just moving it around, you can catch a little bit of a whiff from the kind of tart blueberries and some of the chocolate malt, but we'll take a closer look. Yeah, when you go into it a little bit more closely, you start to get the things like the roasted malt. There's a good roasted malt presence to this one. There's almost a little bit of a brown bready character to this one. It's maybe even a little bit ashy, to be honest with you. I'm surprised. If I was smelling this one blind, I would think that they'd maybe used Fuggles hops in this one or something like that. But yeah, it definitely has a sort of ashy character to it. Some earthy hop notes in there as well. You can smell a little bit of the resins. Like, you do get a little bit of resin when you use like Chinook and Centennial in dark beers like this. You can pick out a little bit of that. But you can also smell some of the red fruits. There's a sort of figgy or raisin thing going on with this one. But you can smell that just underneath the blueberries. The blueberries are coming out as being just a little bit sort of sharp. I'm not getting much in the way of lactose from it right enough. You can smell a little bit of dark chocolate, but I'm not getting the sort of lactosey notes to this one. But that I'm sure will come out in the flavour. Sometimes lactose isn't the most kind of apparent thing when it comes to the aroma of a beer. But yeah, just as I always say, take a little bit of time and mull over the aroma before you actually try the beer. But it smells pretty interesting, so just take a little bit of time and enjoy that before you get stuck in. But we'll try this beer now. I think I'll just try it as it is and put the rest in a bit later. But this one is the Blueberry Backbone from Brasstacks Brewing Company, based up in Uppsala, near just to the north of Stockholm in Sweden actually. Skål! That's quite nice. It's actually, the first thing I'm noticing about this beer when I try it is that it does have quite a bit of carbonation to it. It's got more carbonation to it than I would expect from an Imperial Stout. It does have quite a bit of bubbly character to it. But yeah, as you can see, there's a little bit of kind of sedimenty stuff coming out there, which is interesting. But yeah, it's kind of as you would expect, but just a little bit more kind of carbonated. I haven't even had that in the fridge so long, so I'm not sure why it's done what it has. But yeah, I think I've only had it in the fridge for like 2 days or something, but still, yeah. So it's quite interesting, this one. I'm still not getting all that much of the lactose out of this. It comes out a little bit in the aftertaste, but mainly this Imperial Stout leans towards the roasty side of things, which I'm quite surprised about. Yeah, that's really nice actually. I'm quite impressed with that. They've done a good job with this one. I mean, there's quite a bit going on. I mean, it sounds like it would be, it's quite they haven't used all that many different types of malts and things as you can do with Imperial Stouts, but they've certainly got a hell of a lot of flavour out of this. Well, so well done to Brasstacks for this. So yeah, as I always say when you're tasting dark beers, sugar the beer around your palate a little bit and let your whole mouth adjust to it before you actually start kind of fully analysing the flavour. But yeah, with this one, there's a nice sort of roasted black malt base to this beer. On top of that, you get some of the kind of toasted chocolate sort of things. It's definitely got this slightly roasted chocolate element to it. I'm not picking up too much in the way of brown sugars, but you wouldn't expect that with the malt base that they've used. Sometimes you can get it in these beers even without the use of caramel and things though. So yeah, a nice kind of dark chocolatey character in the middle of the palate there. As you move further into the aftertaste and the beer just mellows out a little bit, you start to detect some of the milkier aspects of the chocolate. Yeah, that's a nice beer. I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this again. One thing I would say about this beer though is I think it would be really cool if they tried conditioning this with the old pool casks that we have back in Scotland. If you could cask condition this beer, I think it would be really this would be a really quite nice one to try with that. So yeah, with this one, the lactosey notes are coming out right in the middle of your tongue. You can pick up that almost milky and chocolatey sweetness there in the middle of your palate. As you move further away from the centre of your mouth, that's when you start to get the kind of roasted elements to this beer. There's maybe a wee bit of a kind of woody flavour. I'm getting a little bit of woody kind of undertone out of this beer, which is quite nice, and that suits it as well, actually. The hoppy side of the beer is quite interesting as well. So in the back corners of the palate I'm getting a little bit of earthiness, but as you come further forward you can feel a little bit of the sort of resinous and floral characters coming out of this one, so you can just feel that bitterness there. It's quite bitter in the back corners, but then as you come further forward it smooths out and then it's just a little bit more floral and resinous. That is what you would expect when you've used kind of Chinook in this one. Chinook always gives you a little bit of pine resin, but as you go further around the front of the tongue it is just lighter and slightly grassy. You can still get a little bit of the earthiness under there, which is quite interesting, because normally I always find it just comes out in the back corners of the palate. But as I always say, when you add fruit to a beer you can always tell when it's added rather than taken out of the alpha acids, or rather than when it's extracted from the hops. And the way you can tell is by the way that where the fruit flavours come out. So the blueberries are coming out on the very, very edge of your palate, and that's how you can always kind of tell when it's a fruit addition to a brew, rather than the fruits being extracted from the hops. So yeah, definitely picking up a little bit of tartness from the blueberries around the edge of my tongue. It's quite a nice juicy blueberry actually. And then if you just go behind the front curve of your palate, that's where you get that little oily bubble where these nice fruity esters always come out. And I'm getting a good bit of red fruity character out of this. I mean, it's a sort of figgy element to it, but it's also got a little bit of raisin, and that wee kind of extra sharpness that you get from the kind of raisiny flavour suits the bit of tartness that you're getting from the blueberry. The whole thing goes together quite well. Yeah, this beer it's really nice. I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this one again. If you get the chance to try this, I do recommend that you have a look at this beer. It's definitely leaning more towards the roasty kind of bitter side of things. In the aftertaste it's a bit of the earthy bitter hops, and then some of these roasted black malts that are sitting there. A little bit of the blueberry and the red fruity esters that I was talking about are coming out too, but mainly to me this comes across as a sort of roasted kind of bitter Imperial Stout, this one. I mean, if I tried this beer I would think it was higher in alcohol than it is too. To me it does feel a little bit boozier than the 8% that it has. I would have guessed this was maybe 9.5–10% just based on the flavour, but it's a good beer, and that's the main thing. Of course you can debate about the styles and this and that about the beer, but they've done a nice job with this, and I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink it again. In terms of the mouthfeel, I would say with this beer it's mid-bodied. I think it's maybe on the light end of full-bodied, to be honest. It's somewhere in between there. The carbonation on this one is a little bit over-carbonated from me. I'm not sure if maybe I put it in the fridge for 2 days, so maybe I've just had it sitting quite a long time, because it did take a little while to find information on this brewery, but I kept it cellared rather than putting it in the fridge. I put it in the fridge 2 days ago. So yeah, it's a little bit over-carbonated for me. I would like it a little bit smoother. It's got a bit of an oily mouthfeel, but you can get a little bit of the creaminess from the lactose out of there as well. Like I say, it's the carbonation that would be my one complaint with this beer. It's just a little over-carbonated. The malts in this one do lean towards the roasty side of things. You do get a nice roasty bitterness out of it, but at the same time there is a little bit of sweetening in there from the chocolates and stuff. The hops on this one, there's a little bit of bitterness there in the back corners of the palate, but other than that they're mainly quite smooth. You've got a nice little bit of tart fruity character from the blueberries, like I said, and some juicy fruits from the red fruity esters behind the front of the tongue too. But overall it's a really, really nice beer. My one absolutely nitpicking complaint about this beer though just would be the carbonation. Maybe just a little bit less carbonation, but then again that could just be because I've had it sitting for a little while in the cellar. But I kept it at something like, sure, I was selling it around 10–15 degrees, somewhere in between that, so that wouldn't have affected it too much it maybe just is a little bit over-carbonated. But that said, that's a very, very minor point. The main thing to take away from this review is that it is a really quite nice beer. So if you get the chance to try this one, I recommend you do. If you like your Imperial stouts to lean a little bit towards the roasty side, but also to have that sharp bit of fruity tartness, then this is one that's really going to hit the spot for you. But yeah, been really cool to review this one. It is always cool to try beers from different breweries here in Sweden as well, so I'm sure I will go back and try some of their other beers. Maybe I'll try the Wheat IPA or the Conductor IPA at some point for you, but this one was really nice, and a big thumbs up to Brasstacks Brewing Company for this. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this review. Thank you for watching. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Do check out my social media. Make sure you let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. If you have tried it, let me know what your favourite beers are from Brasstacks Brewing, and I will see if I can review those for you at some point in the near future. But this was the Blueberry Backbone from Brasstacks Brewing Company, based near Uppsala, just up to the north of Stockholm here in Sweden. Been really cool to have a look at this brewery for you. So thank you once again for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. Ska.